The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and guests. Independent fact checking is advised.
Advise, but don't do it. Who needs fact checking?
Not even an intro. Oh, this is giving me both chills and the comfort of the podathon.
Oh,
Yeah.
At the same time, this is live. This is the last Rites episode 50 something, 52 is it? I don't know. Look underneath the video. I think it's 52.
50,
who cares? If you haven't already, and I'm sure you have, but if you're watching it on playback and you haven't already, please scroll down and hit the subscribe button. It's very big and round. Even if you were in a war, and both your arms got blown off, you could probably just use your nose. Use your loyalist nose to press subscribe. If it isn't a touchscreen, that won't work. But you know, figure it out and all that, share and all that stuff. Other business, we're also up on Rumble now, so go and check us out on Rumble. All the links should be in the description of this. Jamie's just in his own fucking world. He's obviously been drinking. All the links are in the description. Go check all that shit out everywhere. Listen to it. We've had people listening to it for once because I've actually been posting those links, so we're everywhere. I support Spotify. We're on there. We're on Podbean. Anywhere you get audio. Stitcher. We're on Stitcher, except they haven't pulled through the new logo. I've emailed them. We'll figure it out. But most of the places plus YouTube. Thank you very motherfucking much. We have Jamie Dykes here, as very usual, 87.8% of the podcast. Jamie, it seems to be on. And the special guest today is Mr. Papa Dog K9, Cap'n, minddog, Kelp Nate, Matt Nappo. Matt Nappo, of course, musician, podcaster, and daddy.
wow! I finally made it. Hey, Ma.
Hey, Ma.
Before we get started, if I could, I wanted to share something with you guys.
Yes.
I don't know if I've ever shared this with you before, but it's a picture of me and Louis C.K. and Bill Cosby and Woody Allen and Jeffrey Epstein in a hot tub.
Excellent.
It was at
I see.
Ellen DeGeneres' place, right?
Yeah.
Great. Just before she started hitting everyone. That's the Jackie Martin screen share method.
There's a cute story behind because Ellen just got out of the hot tub to go waterboard one of her production assistants, you know, and Louis C.K. just pulled his dick out and started jacking off of everybody. And this is why he got a little in my eye, but you could see that Epstein looks a little pissed off in this picture, and I think because he's wearing a lot of Louis' jizz, and he got Cosby too. Cosby's a little pissed off, but me and Woody are kind of smiling, and Louis got kind of a spry look on his face. But you know, guess who took this picture? You'll never believe who took this picture.
Don't tell me it was. Yeah, Jackie Martin.
That was a two-man operation, actually. Kevin Spacey and Michael Jackson they were taking turns gangbanging this 14-year-old boy, right? And
perfect. Support Louis C.K. Go buy Louis C.K. specials. Sorry, right now. In fact, go and pay $25 and buy all the specials. Louis C.K. is the king. Jizz or no jizz. There we go. There's that advert out the way. It's our first official sponsor is Louis C.K.
Okay, cool.
Good picks. What good picks they were.
How odd is it that Jackie pulls out a picture of him with Epstein and Woody Allen, and just like every pervert, whoever, here's me with every Chris Nanzer wasn't in the picture, but it's a surprise that he wasn't.
He was probably like lingering in the background, fucking somewhere though, wasn't he? Because that's fucking
He'll
crazy.
never guess who took this picture.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
He was saying it, and Keely was on the couch, and I said, wouldn't it be mad if he just had a fucking breakdown right now and start confessing to all sorts of mental shit? So this would be good. Yeah, that was fucking. I wasn't really expecting that to pop up, to be honest, but it was.
Yeah, but the thing you forget though, because Jackie was well in with like the It crowd in New York in the 80s, right? All the way through the 80s, that Stern show. They were everyone rich and famous. They were hanging out with here and there, right? So Epstein was all in up in those people's business for years.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Parties, dinner parties. Man, I'm gonna get him on and talk almost exclusively about Epstein's dinner party. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have gone to an Epstein dinner party. You kidding me? The food.
I know.
He
He said it like so.
The dessert. Am I
Did
right?
I ever tell you about my Epstein? Like, no.
Yeah, this needs to be fucking talked. Yeah, and what do you say about the Donmeister Trump? He just said, yeah, Epstein, they had like moral differences or whatever. It was like, fucking wow.
Well, yeah, Trump was too dirty for Epstein because Trump crossed an ethical line that Epstein never would cross, which is.
I heard that he was hitting on really young girls at Trump's golf course, so that's another way Trump kicked him out because of that. He's like, they're too young, dude. Let's not do this.
Right.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Who knows? Who knows what happened?
Yeah,
I know.
I don't. Epstein and Trump know what happened, and Epstein's not talking.
Well, he can't now because of it. Hillary has special grappling hooks in her vagina, and I have heard that. It looks like a penis, but it's actually a grappling hook.
Yeah, like a monster from fucking Star Wars in the desert or some shit.
It's just actually she just uses her vagina lips to crawl prison walls in the dead of night. You can't hear them. It's like a gift she got from the aliens.
Now, technically, is that misinformation or is that just innuendo or rumor?
It's a thought. It's a thought. It's a thought. It's an idea.
It's something that floats around in the conscious minds of people who are skeptical of the Clintons. How do we call that? Yeah, probably it is bordering the line of fucking, misinformation, I suppose. But it's all scripted, Carl, isn't it? It's all scripted, as you say.
This is a scripted comedy show written by Brett Brock. So any complaints at Husky Boyo, anything that we say is his responsibility. He's the one that brought nudity to this podcast.
I'm keeping my shirt on. I'm just putting that out there. Here and now, I'm keeping my shirt on.
That's okay. It's quite cold. We're all cold. We need to keep our shirts on. We don't want to die of hypothermia.
Kelly's offering us $10 each to get topless. Kelly, are you sure you want to be wasting that kind of money? I mean, I could do with the $10. I'm not kidding. But I don't really want to get topless again.
You know what Carl says.
Here's where you've gone wrong, because to get stage time, all you've got to do is suck a dick, right? all you need to do is to go, look, I'm not gay, but do you know what? If I have a shot of whiskey, I can suck this dick and I can get on that stage. I'm not bringing here's where you've gone wrong.
Yeah,
that's Carl's had about 4 pints of beer.
Actually, I think you seem pretty sober then. That was an afternoon on a Sunday. Well, afternoon for me.
Was that my first appearance?
Yes.
Yeah, I was anxious and I was drinking homebrew beer. Actually, I had 4 pints of it whilst we were talking. You can check. That was good. That was one of my favorite experiences. And I sometimes struggle to get that kind of energy, but I should just stay dry. Oh, by the way, asshole update, right? I almost the other day I was in bed nearly crying and I was about to call the doctor and I forgot, of course.
Is that when you texted me and said you were gonna
Yeah, and then yesterday I didn't eat any bread or any fucking bullshit. And then yesterday and today I'm fine. So again, as I discovered about 4 years ago, it's a gluten issue, and I just kept shoving things that were full of gluten into my face until my ass bled. So
you gotta high fiber it. That's what I found out a couple of years ago, because that ass thing is related to what is that? I forget what it's called now.
Gluten intolerance.
No. Where the kind of your colon folds over on itself. I forget what they call it. Diverticulitis. Is that what it is? Yeah.
There's one of a million things it can be, but I know that I have an issue with fucking beer, with pizza, with pasta, and it's all the stuff I like. Bread, love it.
You can get wholemeal. The dog said if you fiber up, you can get like wholemeal pasta and shit. It's like and rice.
Yeah, I use wholemeal bread, but I think it just sets me off. So I'm gonna have to re-up my diet somehow in the next couple of weeks. But I'll be getting on it. So there's
lots of roughage. Go eat wood. Eat wood.
I'll eat some wood. And if you mean
like
peanuts, I might do that as well for money. What's the frequency, Kevin? There he is. He's at work in the lab. More hours. There we go. 2 more hours in the lab. Presumably experimenting on children.
Hope so. What a panda bears eat? They eat fucking bamboo. So maybe you can just go for like a panda
bamboo.
But how long do they live? They live like 20 years or something, right?
Yeah, they don't even breed anyway. They don't breed much, do they? That's why they're a dying species.
Lazy.
Not lazy. Jim Jeffries had a great bit about pandas, And he said, fuck them, they're dead weight, get rid of them. He said, you put pandas like in a cage for weeks on end, a male and a female, they won't breed because they're just fucking lazy. But
Wow.
he said, you stick me in a cage with anything after 2 weeks, and I'll try and fuck it. I was like, he said, so fuck the pandas, they're fucking dead weight. I was like, that's a good bit. That was a good bit.
I could see it. I could definitely see it. He makes a good point there too. Wow, what's with the pandas, man? Come on.
Lazy cunts just fucking sat there doing shit with their days.
What are these usernames about? It's Becky, isn't it? What are these usernames about? It just takes under for an hour to read the username. There we go. Okay. There we go. Let those pigs get on with it over there. So what are we going to talk about today? Oink, oink. Let's talk about a few things today. Firstly, it's going to have a little bit of structure, but not too much. I had an idea of getting the dog in every so often to talk about his life, but today will be a broad brush and nonsense, and we're going to talk about the new show we'll be doing on somebody's platform that might still exist in the next week if there's no more misinformation spread there. So we need to be.
It's so cryptic. I don't even know where I am right now. What the fuck are you talking about?
So, Doggy, you grew up on Long Island, right? That's your.
Yes, I was born and raised here. I didn't stay here that long. Left at 14, but yeah.
Right. Where did you? So when you got stolen by the Chinese, where was that?
Oh, that was in San Diego, well, not really San Diego. It was Santa Anita racetrack, which is in like Alhambra, California. It's like south of Pasadena.
Right. Okay. I know Pasadena.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you were living over that way?
No, my godmother lived there, and because my father worked for American Airlines, and he was one of the legacy people from there, so that meant your family could fly free anywhere American Airlines went at the time. So I was flying from the time I was an infant, flying back and forth New York to LA. About 6 times a year to go spend time with my grandmother or my godmother in California. So that's what I was doing there then. But my parents were there because they would take frequent vacations just to go wherever the hot racetrack was. Santa Anita was open at the time. So we went to Santa Anita to play the ponies. And that's how I got lost.
Shit.
Fair play. So so first of all, Evan's on YouTube and Twitch at the same time. He's omnipotent at the moment, or whatever's going on up there. But what do you remember anything, or were you too young when
No, I remember lots of stuff. I have a very vivid memory from 2 and 3 years old about events, even before, when I was having struggling with language and stuff. I have memories of that point because I remember being 2 years old, or just around 2 years old, and where I lived, the ladies of the neighborhood could socialize in like a room in the house, and you'd be outside on the front lawn. They had full view of you, and they could watch you like that. And the times were a lot simpler than, I know to a lot of people today that sounds like bizarre. Who would leave a little 2-year-old out on the lawn playing by himself? But I was doing that, and a car came down my block, and I remember it very vividly. Crashed through the fence and into the canal, and the guy died. And his car flipped over into the canal, and he died. And they had to pull a crane to get the car out. And I remember sitting there watching as they pulled this body up. And like 2 years old, and I still can see it clear as day in my mind. So I have lots of memories from 2 and 3 years old, and I know that's very unique. A lot of people don't remember any of that stuff, but I definitely remember the feeling of settling in with the Chinese family and thinking that, okay, this is my life now. And then when I was found, I wasn't sure I wanted to go back. I was settled in. This is my home now. Like,
well, a few days is a long time when you're that age, right? So did you come out learning it? Did you come out knowing like karate? I don't know.
No, but I definitely came out
being a specialist.
Yeah, and with a newfound interest in different kind of foods and all that kind of stuff. But
different types of sort of leadership and government, governorship.
Absolutely. I was kind of interested in communism. I wanted to read about it at that point, but I wasn't really ready to vote yet. But no, seriously, 3 days could be like 3 months to a 3-year-old. It's forever.
Yeah. Yeah. How? So you was 3, and you was there for a couple of days, but you remember so much fucking stuff, like what was going on and everything was. That's
I
fucking,
remember when I remember what was happening at the time
Yeah.
because my parents were so wrapped up in. My father was fucking crazy when it came to gambling and would bet like irresponsibly money he didn't have and then pray to God that it would come through. And so a horse was coming in and it looked like a winner and they were jumping up and down. And I saw this kid and I was playing with them and his parents called him and they started to walk away. And I just said, well, I'm going with him. And I left them there. And that's really the last vivid memory of that I have until 3 days later when they came to get me and the police were there. And I remember crying, like I didn't want to go with them. It's like, no, I'm happy here now. I'm settled. I understand we had something, but now this is what I'm doing over here now. Go back to where you came
and
from.
back then, for sure, like no charges against the Chinese. It was just like, no, we found this kid and didn't know what to do with him. So
Right. There were no Amber Alerts, nothing like that. And my parents went home from the racetrack. This is, says a lot about my parents and who they were. But you lose a 3-year-old kid and you look around the racetrack, you don't find them, and you just go home and say, well, we'll call the police when we get home. And are you fucking kidding me?
They needed someone to work out the fucking laundrette, didn't they? That's what they needed. They were grooming the next laundrette operative, which was you.
Yeah. So
because I've heard that story like twice now, the third time now, but it's just so fucking like bizarre. But this was a different day. This is what
1870.
1962.
62 is fucking it's that's fucking big.
So Kennedy was still alive, right?
Yeah. Kennedy hadn't been killed yet, and even when I was 1, I remember very distinctly how it happened, but I don't remember any of the events about it. But I'm told the story about it, that we were in first class flying from New York to LA, and my mother and father both fell asleep, and I drifted off and went and started playing with the kid up in the front row who happened to be Pearl Bailey and Louis Belson. Louis Belson was the drummer for the Tonight Show at the time, Johnny Carson. And I was playing with their kid and we became friends. And so basically I became friends with them and then had to keep in touch with them. While we were in LA, I would go to play with that little girl. So basically I was kind of a flirty, extroverted little kid, which is kind of weird because I'm not that way now. It takes a long time.
You did it all then. You got all the sex, drugs, and rock and roll out the way by the time you were 7.
a lot of it. Yeah. Especially the drugs. So if my parents were extremely dysfunctional in a lot of different ways, but I think they were too old, and they were only 30 when they had my father was 31, my mom was 30, but in that day and age, that was old to be having kids, and for what they had already been through, because my father was a fucking crazy man. He was a compulsive gambler and hot rod maniac, and had been burnt up in a fire, and he was a guy who fucked everything that moved. And so they were ready to get divorced when he got burnt up, and I was kind of a welcome home from your tragedy kind of. Oh yeah, I forgot about how you fucked my best friend and right before you got burnt up, and I forgive you for that because you're home from the hospital now. Let's fuck. And then I was a mistake. So you can understand how you could be a lost kid.
What a mistake to make. I was definitely a mistake as well. I'm 7 years behind. My 3 brothers and sisters are like within 3 years of each other, and I came along 7 years later. There's no fucking way I was planned. No way at all. They've never said that to me, but yeah, I think so. But I always like to say, what a mistake to make, right?
Yeah.
The same.
Best mistake ever.
I'm glad they did.
I don't think I wasn't planned. None of me, my brother, or my sister, we were never planned. It was just like contraception was shit back in the day, and everyone needed to come, and whatever, you go for it.
Yeah. But I think if not for me, my parents would have got divorced. I'm almost certain of that. But whatever.
You're the glue, brother. Matt's the glue.
Yeah, you're the sticky.
Not in a good way though, because it was fucking crazy from that moment on. I mean, everybody talks about fucked up childhood and all that stuff. And I don't really consider mine fucked up, just crazy. But it wasn't. I wasn't a victim of anything. It was a fucking nuts existence, though.
Yeah, I remember a story you was telling before. I think this was on the podathon. You were saying about fucking. You remember being in a car and like bullets were flying and shit. The windows are breaking.
Oh yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? It was.
Yeah. My father was one of 17 children from 3 different fathers. One mother, 3 different fathers. Right.
Good woman.
Yeah. So he had, and all his brothers had weird names. Like, so my Uncle Chick, that was his name. His name was Frank, but they ended up calling him Chick. Uncle Chick was a bartender and got beat up and robbed in Brooklyn where he was bartending. And my Uncle Rich was a bona fide hitman. He wasn't really my uncle. He was my father's cousin. But one day, for some reason, 5 years old, my mom left me in Dad's care. Dad's not a stable guy. If you know my father, I mean, he's fucking off the walls crazy. Not the kind of person you would leave with a 5-year-old anyway, ever. But she left me with him. I'm hanging out with him, and Uncle Rich comes over, and he's pissed off about my Uncle Chick getting beat up and robbed. And he called my father and said, we got to do something about this. And my father's getting worked up, and I could just see this. And they're both starting to lose their temper. And then they said, that's it, let's go. And they threw me in the back of the car, and we drove to Brooklyn, which was about 45 minutes from my house. And we get to Brooklyn, and it's getting to be nighttime now, and it's summer. It's hot in the middle of the summer. And they lock the doors, and they say, stay in the car, don't get out, no matter what. And the car's running. And so they go into this bar, and I remember getting, antsy, like, what's going on in there? I'm a little scared, and it's late at night, and it's getting dark, and it feels like late to a little kid, 5 years old. And I remember just watching the bar they went in, and all of a sudden just hearing the shot, bang, 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 bang. And Dad and Uncle Rich come running out, and my father's got a spare key. He opens the door, he hops in, and he starts taking off. And that's when bullets start flying at the car. I mean, coming like sparking in the road and stuff. And they're like, get down, and bullets flying, hitting mirrors and stuff. And it was like Wild West in Brooklyn, going down Atlantic Avenue and just freaking out. And that was my life. Is a lot of crazy shit like that, because my Uncle Rich took a liking to me at that point. Again, he's not my real uncle; he's my father's cousin, but bona fide hitman whose father was a hitman back in the original 20s and 30s, 40s mafia, and made man and all that kind of stuff. And I remember Uncle Rich just like taking me to his house and hang out with him and his father, and I would hang out with his son Philip and ask him questions about what was going on with his, because they never would allowed to say the word death around the old man, because that would trigger the old man and make him crazy. And I never understood what that meant. And then one day Philip told me about the history of and numbers, like, and probably exaggerated numbers, but heavy body count numbers and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. That was my initiation to, at 5 years old, to the life I would expect to be growing up.
Yeah. So what's it like then when you go to school, right? And then you're with maybe some not normal, but maybe some normal kids, and people are asking what you did at the weekend. Are you talking about bullets, or do you know to keep your mouth shut?
I don't think I ever talked about that until I was a teenager. I kind of repressed that stuff, but no,
I get it. Yeah.
I wasn't. There were normal kids, but no, there weren't normal kids. There were kids that weren't in the mob, or any related to the mob or any kind of crime, but most of them were. Like a guy right across the street from me. And I was thinking about this last night for some reason. Every week there would be a tractor trailer full of contraband in front of his house. Not even trying to hide it. Park a tractor trailer, and it could be coats, could be pocketbooks, could be records, whatever it was they stole a truck full, and they'd be selling it out of the back of the truck until all the stuff was gone. And sometimes that could take days without ever fearing like the cops coming by and saying, "Hey, what's going on here? You're running a tractor trailer store in front of your house, all stolen goods." Obviously, they held a gun to somebody's head to get out of your truck, and they took the trailer and parked it in front of this guy's house, and then they sold the goods. That's the neighborhood I grew up in.
Yeah.
So they've I don't know if you know, but I assume that they've asked some local policemen to maybe drive by.
Yeah.
Don't worry about
yeah.
it.
Here's have a pocketbook and $100. Okay. Yeah. We'll see you.
How's the family?
And think about this, because I thought about the pocketbook one last night. Because in those days, you're talking the 60s, they didn't pack stuff like they do now, where everything's in a box inside of a box inside of a box. This was a tractor trailer full of ladies' pocketbooks, and they would just kind of not even be in boxes sometimes, just like wrapped in plastic paper or something. A tractor trailer full of those. How many could you be in there, and how many people in the neighborhood could actually want to buy those? So that trailer could have remained there for 10 days while they were selling pocketbooks out of the back for $5, $10 each, whatever the hell they were, and never get busted, never once. And that went on for at least till I left home at 14. It was still going on. Like, how to get away with it with an impunity and never ever even sweat it. Like, if you're going to do something criminal, you're going to try to keep it hidden. You're not going to park a big old semi out in front of your house that is just obvious. You know.
So my dad used to go on. Sorry.
No, go on. Go for it.
I was saying my dad used to steal cars in the 60s, but take them back. Like, he would bring them back with
petrol,
gas in the tank, right? Yeah, they would take it and then bring it back, put petrol, fuel in it, and leave it back. And he was telling me one day he was driving down the lanes near where I used to live, and a cop come out and just put his hand out to stop, and they had to make a split-second decision. So my dad just put the foot down and drove faster at him, and he jumped out the way, took this car back. And he said the next day they got home from school. They were like 15 or whatever, 14, 15. And the local village policeman's push bike is lent up against his mother's house. So he ran away. He ran away for days. And it turns out the cop was just going around to have a cup of tea with my grandmother. That's what they did back then, like the English Bobby. They would just go, "Hi, Howie." It's nothing to do with it. But yeah, they used to do like gentleman crime, you know? Steal this, take it back.
Yeah.
Fucking yeah.
So everybody in my neighborhood was either exposed to crime in some way or another. It wasn't always organized crime. A lot of it was just small-time hood crime. And then there were the politicians and the people who were in that kind of corruption too. And that's basically, those are two people that were in my kinds of people that were in the neighborhood that I was in.
Yeah.
So you grew up in The Wire, basically. The Wire. You could do 5 seasons, like different generations of politicians and police and the local neighborhood.
Well, yeah, my mother's family was all cops, and my father's family were all criminals. And there were times where my mother's side of the family had my father's side of the family in jail. Like my cousin Louis needed to get bailed out because my cousin Kenny arrested him. The cop side of the family. Yeah.
There are times where like you would meet like a girl and then go back to see the family, and they were like, "Oh, what's your name?" Whatever, Matt Nappo, and they'd be like, "Oh, who are you related to?"
Yeah.
Times like that, or people would say like, "Oh shit, you're related to so and so."
Yeah,
ain't a good fit for you, sweetie. Fucking hell.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff. So yeah, and that's kind of what led to me running away from home at 14, is that it was just so fucking crazy with that stuff. And when my father became full-fledged bookie, like in my early days, he was just a runner for numbers for a bookie. But at some point when I was like 9 or 10, he became the man. And once he became the man, it was like we were going from betting thousands of dollars a week to hundreds of thousands of dollars a week, riding on every weekend, every big game, all that kind of stuff. And it was just like intense pressure all the fucking time. So
Shit. So it's kind of like living paycheck to paycheck, but like living from fucking winning horse to winning horse. Like
it's like it's like going from a brand new car and brand new stereo this week, and the kids get everything they want. Let's get a in-ground pool. Oh, we had a bad week. Tear it all out, sell the car, get rid of the stereo. It was like that every week, rich or poor. And
wild. But Becky was just asking a slightly related question about is it harder to do even things like garage sales in New York now in the last 10 or 20 years?
Is it harder to do what? Like, question, harder to sell stuff? Oh, I have no idea. No idea.
I don't know. Google it, Becky.
Yeah.
All right.
They can't do it in the suburbs. You can't pull a tractor trailer in front of your house and leave it out there for a week and a half.
Yeah. I know there's problems like here with like selling homemade lemonade. Do you know what I mean? Like officially you shouldn't be selling homemade foods because of like contamination. Some kid has got their hand up their ass and then in a cookie. But people kind of do it. It's kind of crazy. So did you leave when you moved out at 14? That was the end of that life in terms of what you saw?
Not really. No, that was the end of it from my
leverage
nuclear family's involvement of it, because by the time I came back, my father was almost dead. But
Becky, don't apologize. If I said I'm only joking. Thanks for getting involved. Don't have to be sorry.
What's he sorry about? I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe asking the question. No, don't worry at all. That's what.
All questions are cool. We're cool with that. No, I left home 9th grade. I came home from school one day, and my mother and father were in jail. And so the FBI had, what happened was there was a guy, his name was Reb. He was from Virginia, Reb short for Rebel. He was betting every week and losing heavily, and he was like $600,000 in debt. And instead of, he had no way to pay that back. Instead of dealing with like enforcers or anything, he went to the feds and went into the witness protection program and ratted out the whole operation. The feds put a wiretap on my phone, on my home phone. This is 1972, I think, 73, around there. And basically had my house under surveillance, complete 24/7 surveillance for several months. So I come home from school one day, it's like October, right around Halloween time, and mom and dad are both in jail, and my brother's not home. He's missing. I'll come in there like, what's going on? And the neighbor lady comes over and tells me what happened. And then my brother comes home and he's angry as shit. And I'm like, what happened? He said, they got wiretaps on everything. And then cops came and wanted to ask questions of me. And started, my brother was like screaming, don't you tell them anything. He's fucking, and they turned to my brother and said, you shut up or we'll take you and your little brother too. We'll throw the whole family in jail, because the tapes they had incriminated everybody. My brother was doing some illegal stuff at the time. I was like 13 years old, and they had me on tape saying like I had 1,000 hits of acid to dump tonight and that kind of stuff. So it wasn't looking good. So basically at that point, I kind of said, well, it's time to grow up and make your own way. And I had a friend who went to Florida. His family moved to Florida just right before that. And at that time, you could buy a one-way ticket from New York to Florida. If you had the cash, no question to ask, no matter how old you were. So I went to Eastern Airlines, and instead of going to school the next day, I had a friend drive me to Eastern Airlines. I bought a one-way ticket to Orlando, Florida, hitchhiked to my friend's place in Lake Wales, Florida, and said, is there any work around here? I need to put myself to work. And they had a campground and put me to work and put me in a little, not even motorhome. It was just like one of those little, very small trailers, like pop-up trailers. That's what I lived in for the first 6 months or so while I tried to get myself in school, get a job picking oranges in the morning before school. And so yeah, that. But I heard them all about mob stories and stuff, and not that level of organized crime, very disorganized crime, but still low-level mob involvement. When I got back, everybody, all the people my age were somehow, dealing drugs and all that kind of stuff was all tied into it at some point. So not as much the gambling, though. The gambling kind of kind of subsided a little bit when, especially when my dad got sick and he was out of it. But
wild time. So when you're down in Florida, was that a shock in terms of the weather as well, that kind of stuff?
No, I went there. Knowing what the weather. Again, I had been used to flying all over the place by myself,
okay,
and California was cool, and so I went to Florida with that in mind. That it's going to be, and I wanted to go work in Walt Disney World, and eventually did. They were just opening it up down there, but the big shock for me was I was in a rural part of Central Florida, which is the school district I got myself into was 98% black. And so I was like the lone white kid in it, in a very poor rural part of town. And I was poor. I was dirt poor. And I was picking oranges. I'd get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go pick oranges until school started, and come to school covered in black pesticide, like a white kid looking like he's wearing blackface because he's covered in black pesticide every day and just dirty.
That's it's a great excuse. Did you have to walk around like Gene Wilder and stir crazy? It's like,
kind of like that.
We bad.
So I was the and nobody took offense by it. But then I ended up playing music in the band in that school and became like really popular. The white kid played a nice guitar, and so that was back in my introduction to really being in a performing thing, because we were playing quite often now, playing around. The high school band was like leased out to nursing homes and stuff like that, facilities in Florida. We would be bussed into just, and I guess the school was charging for our appearance, but we weren't getting paid for it. But that was kind of a avocation that I got into at that point, which was another turning point. But what is he saying? This sounds like the end of Midnight Cowboy. One way from New York to Florida. Really, I didn't. Yeah,
I've only seen the film once, but I don't know the reference. I've seen it once. Yeah,
I saw it when I was 9 years old, I think, with my parents.
You trying to say Mac got fucked up the ass?
Yeah,
everybody's talking about him.
Yeah, Ratso was dying of like tuberculosis or something at that point.
Yeah, he had some bad cough, like COVID cough back in the 70s or some shit. Yeah.
So you're playing guitar at that point. Then when did you get into your first band?
Well, I had the first paying gig I ever had was 7 years old, playing banjo with the Long Island Banjo Society. But the first band, rock and roll band, was before I went to Florida. I was playing in a small time band, but we didn't gig or anything. The first gigging band I got into was when I got to college. Well, I played again in Florida. That was, I guess that's gigging, but the first like rock and roll gigging thing was when I got to New Mexico in college, and had a little 4-piece band, and that was doing mostly, not mostly, half and half original stuff and like the worst Neil Young, Crosby, Stills and Nash type covers that we could get through, because we weren't very good.
Well, you're fucking young. Everyone got to start somewhere. So yeah, Neil Young.
And terrible original songs, but people were just so shocked that anybody was writing their own songs that everybody said they were great, but they were awful. I mean, god awful fucking songs, like most childish and raw and just weak songs. They weren't good songs, but there weren't a lot of people. This is, you're talking about mid-70s. There weren't a lot of people doing original music my age at that point. Talking about 17, 18 years old, freshman in college.
Yeah, and that first stuff that you produce, whatever you're doing is shit, whether you're writing comedy, like your first little while, whatever you're doing is not going to be good.
Yeah.
Like, so even if it feels good at the time, you look back a couple of years later and you think, oh, that's a bit not so good. But you learn. It's just the way of doing it. You've got to get that first lot of stuff out into the universe.
I was reviewing my first interview with you, and we're talking about, you had this theory about 8 levels of comedy, and you were talking about,
like
that whole evolution,
shit,
the way you feel like you feel like you're competent at it, and it doesn't happen. It's difficult for me to kind of wrap my head around these people who get success really quickly now, because I'm thinking about that. Those people who just get successful in, they come out of the gate and never had to struggle. The internet makes them, props them up, and they've got nothing but applause and encouragement right up to where they are today. I just wonder if do they love the art form as much? Do they appreciate
it's good work? Yeah, I mean, it's good work if you can get it. Like, for example, if what you're saying, if there's some people who can just literally push through the fucking ranks without struggle just because of YouTube success or whatever, then yeah, good for them. It's good work if you can get it. But on the other hand, it's like they haven't, in some respects, like earned what they've got because they haven't had to fucking slug it out in bands or the comedy scene or whatever. But it's something to be envied, but it's also something to be like, okay, maybe take this. But these people though, these big YouTubers, they burn out after a few years. They lose money because they spend the money as quick as they get it, and they got nothing to fall back on other than the success from YouTube or whatever it is. So they got nothing else to do. But they burn through their cash. They're young. They spend it all on mansions and Ferraris.
Do you think they love the art, the art that they're creating as much as somebody who's actually had to struggle to do it well?
No. I see it in common. I know people. I know people that are already doing stuff with Comedy Central and stuff that have been going not that long, and they're not funny at all, and they haven't struggled, and they've just been put on. Within months, you get put on big shows. And just now, once you're on that circuit, you just get booked all the time on that level and higher. And you can look at it with envy, but the way sometimes you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, what? I'm coming back at 2:00 in the morning with like a few pounds in my pocket, if that, for months on end. But but I don't really look at it with envy now. I'm like, okay, well that can happen. You can just put that there. The people that want to enjoy that can enjoy that, and I'm sure in a few years. I think you get benefits from grinding it out early on, not just like you've put in the work, but you'll be able to deal with different situations. Like Augie Smith was saying yesterday, you've not been in a room where people aren't kind of set up to like you already.
Yeah,
right. I've been in the corner of pubs, got there, not been told that it's some random mixed night where they're doing music and comedy. And then I go up and I'm the only one doing comedy there. And then as soon as I go up, half the room leaves because they don't want to see a comedian. And that was when I was fairly new. I've been going about 4 months, terrified. But I thought I'm just going to have to go all in. And then more people were leaving because it was too offensive. And I'm like now stuck with like 2 tables with disco lights on me, just fucking panicking. But I'm really glad I did that. I'm glad I spent hours getting there for nothing.
Yeah. And you know what? There's no better feeling in the world than walking into a room and thinking, oh, this is going to be a bad gig. And you just get that feeling. And then you somehow turn it around. And by the end of the night, they're all in your corner. When that happens, that's the best gig. I don't care if it's a small gig or a big gig, no matter what. If you come into it and you just sense danger and you eliminate that danger and turn them into your friends, that's as good as it gets for me, man.
Being there, fucking done that, it does work. It's a great feeling when you get it. And sometimes it doesn't always work that way. But on the other hand, it's like, fuck you. But yeah, there's times when you do that and it works and you feel great. And even if you bomb to a point, but then you still got people saying, oh, fucking good effort, though, 10 out of 10.
I've bombed my ass and felt fucking terrible and come off, and people are going, oh, I really enjoyed that. Like, well, where were you during why weren't you laughing, or they were and I couldn't hear them, but it's like inside I'm just fucking having a nightmare. But I've also had a room in September that was like that. 5 people went up, and the first 3 the room was just fucking heckling, noisy. One of the comics got way too aggressive with some old man. He was just going, fuck you, dementia, fuck it, because he had just lost his mind. You go, why don't you just fucking sit over there, dementia? So I've got to go up after a break, so I'm just sat at the back like, oh no.
Yeah.
But actually it went fine, and they were good after that. But it was just you get those nights too, and other nights where you like I said, you bomb or you think you have and people say it's good, or if you're too confident, sometimes you can go up and just fucking fall up. You know, your ass will fall out.
Yeah.
It's just a never-ending learning thing. I think comedy. It's never-ending.
You could probably be the best musician or the best comic in the world, but if you rock up to some venue where people are not wanting that specific brand of whatever you're delivering, they're not going to care. They're just going to, well, it's not what we want tonight. Fuck you. They don't give a shit.
People booking gigs in restaurants and not really telling.
Yeah.
It's good. It's fine if you do it, but a lot of the time, if the customers haven't been told and they're just coming out for some food, and now you've got people up on stage doing comedy, they don't want to see that.
Well, I wanted to put together a mockumentary because based on that thing I did in the supermarket on a Sunday morning, I wanted to put together like a mockumentary of a tour that a band could do of just playing like laundromats and supermarkets and you know oil change places and places you'd least expect to see a band and just take people's reactions. Because on a Sunday morning in the supermarket, those people are looking at us like, and some people didn't even notice us. They just walked past like, oh, there's a rock band here. Yeah. Sure, Sunday morning.
I'd love to do, I'd love to do that, but I'd love to like do that. But it'd be great if like me and Carl would be like the British producers of this band. Do you know what I mean? Like get outside influence of this band, the best band ever, and get like British influence of we produce this guys and whatever. It'd be fun.
It would be good. Evan, did people enjoy you down the stage? Undoubtedly, and you know what? It's one of my favorite things when it happens now. I just enjoy it. So when it starts happening, a little switch goes in my mind and I think, I'm just going to have fun with myself. And if there are comics in the room, I'm just trying to make them laugh now, and just live in it and roll around in it like you're a chinchilla in some sand, just like this lovely death.
Well, when I was an executive for Cablevision in New York for you guys, it's the first cable television operation ever in the United States, and they set up the first door-to-door. They were, selling cable subscriptions door-to-door to start out. Grew into this megalith of a company, and they were buying up everything. They bought up Madison Square Garden. They bought up theaters. They bought up a chain store called The Wiz. Nobody beats The Wiz electronics store. And by the time I was working for them, the internet was starting to come around. They were trying to sell broadband modems just coming out like 94, 95. And they said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to put on comedy shows in our electronic stores at lunchtime. And we want you to go there, videotape it, bring the videotape back and put it online so we have a showcase for this is what you need a broadband modem for, to see these live shows from Nobody Beats the Wiz comedy shows that were done in the afternoon. And guys were up on stage trying to do comedy while people are shopping for modems. They're walking around looking for faxes and printers and all, early days of computing and internet stuff, and like not paying attention to the comedians at all. So, and I would be there videotaping 3 shows a day for 3 different comedians. And it was just like the most brutal thing for those guys, but they made fun of the fact that they were just dying on stage. Half of the jokes they were talking about were just about, you see me up here fucking dying while you're shopping for a modem there, that kind of stuff. It was just bizarre, very bizarre time.
That's something like that does sound fun to do. I would do something like that for a one-off. Just go and do some random gig with a few people, somewhere you wouldn't expect it. Just take a PA and stand somewhere. And just harass people for a couple of hours. It sounds fun.
Just abuse them, because in like the UK, you've got to, if you want if you want to busk or play music in a shopping centre, you got to apply for a license now, which is bollocks.
Yeah.
So imagine just rocking up somewhere with like a fucking cheap little fucking amplifier and a mic and just doing random stand-up comedy in a shopping center.
I think Chappelle was doing that in a park. He had a battery-operated PA when he walked away from it for a while. I think that's what he was doing in parks.
Chappelle.
Yeah. I think he used to do a lot of park stuff. I know people that were doing the I know people that were doing that in Bristol during the pandemic. They were just walking around with an amp, and then they're not very funny, these people, but it's like burning my bridges. No, Chappelle, he started out in the parks as well, didn't he? Was it Washington Square Park in New York?
I don't know.
Yeah, he was young. He
I
was
can't.
very young.
I always forget the name of the guy. There was another comic who used to turn up and do it. I should have it right here, but it's just fallen off my mind. And Chappelle would go as like a 14, 15-year-old kid and watch, and then he would start doing it there, like when he was really young.
Right.
So that's where he started.
Yeah, because Chappelle's he was lucky as well because his mother would work fucking ungodly hours throughout the day, and then she would come home and take him to places and do his gigs and whatever. And he was young. He was like 14, 15, taking these comedy clubs into the city and stuff. And so he had a lot of support from his mother, who had nothing, but she was working her fucking tits off just to put food on the table. And she'd come home and then drive him wherever the fuck he had to go. And yeah, it was a lot of respect for in that way. But but most of it was him just fucking wandering around, just fucking doing comedy in his own little format, doing what he was doing.
Wow.
That's what shaped him to be who he is now. It's like, it's
well,
it pays off.
I don't even think you could take a kid to a comedy club anymore in the state. I don't think you can.
No, there's a comic in LA. I can't remember. It might have been Ali McCoskey. Who's just sort of getting somewhere now. But she started out. I think it might not be her. But there was one of the young comics in LA that was doing it from when they were like 16, 17 in the original room every week until like they found out when she turned 20 or something, and they were like, "Wait, you're not 21."
Yeah.
She's like, no, she's been performing there for years. Even just the open mics and stuff, and they banned her straight away. They let her back when she was 21. It's like, yeah, you can't go into a bar and perform legally, especially in the States, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're allowed in some bars here as a 14. I think you can be 14 and go in pubs here with your family, right? And you can drink a glass of wine at 14 or 15.
Yeah, there's a law. You can't.
It's around about having food. You've got to have food.
If you're having food,
it's not in every place.
It's a
weird rule, but I never.
Yeah.
I never benefited.
My first experience getting expelled from school, I was 10 years old, and I was peddling alcohol, and I got ratted out. Because I was drinking every day at the bus stop. I was getting drunk every morning at 9, 10 years old. But the little bottles from the airport, because again, my dad worked at the airport, and they would steal hundreds and hundreds of little bottles of booze. So I would take a bag to school every day. And after a while, people, kids caught on to the fact that I was getting juiced, and they wanted to get juiced. And so it got to the point where I was handing out bottles at the bus stop, and then some kids got busted in the bathroom with a bottle of wine, Lancer's Rosé, like about that big bottle of Lancer's Rosé, and they got caught with it, and they ratted me right out. And like up until that point, I was a pretty good student. I mean, guys who never got caught about anything, was never in trouble. And they called me to the principal's office. I was like, what could this be about? And I walk in and I see like 3 of them there. And I'm like, oh my God. What amateurs getting caught with booze and then ratting me out?
Yeah, fuck that.
Fucking pigs. Should have set the family on them. The family would have fucking sorted them out, dog. They would have taken care of them.
Nobody likes a rat.
Oh, no. Yeah, I definitely, that was one of the times my father didn't hit me that much, but that day getting home from school, not that I got suspended from school, that I was robbing his liquor.
That's fair. I think it's a fair exchange, smack stolen booze.
Yeah.
I got hit quite a bit, but I didn't. My brother came down to see me when I lived in another city when I was like 25, and he was telling me a story about how both my brothers were tied to a chair and whipped with a. This is from my mother, I think. Tied to the kitchen chair and whipped with the power cable, the kettle lead from like a monitor, just whipped with one of those. And I was laughing, going, "What the fuck? That was crazy." And then I had a flashback, and I didn't remember something happening. I remembered the feeling, and I was like, I was hit with a fucking kettle lead. Like this, I must have been young, like 6 or 7, but I can remember the feeling on my legs of like
the sting,
the agony, and the.
Do you know what the offense was? What you did? No,
not that time.
I remember one.
No, that was I was probably really young, or not even there. They were fucking horrors. Though my brothers were absolute terrors.
Yeah.
So if you imagine like Malcolm in the Middle, but with way more violence, that was like what that was what my house was when I was younger. They would fight. They would get pellet guns with the lead pellets and shoot at each other and get stuck in each other's arse and stuff, like proper embedded in like hunting pellets. Just shoot, try and set each other on fire. Stupid fucking crazy.
Good old days.
Well, good old days before this pussy generation took over. Yeah.
Two offenses I really remember is like I had a little painting set, and I painted. My mum had told me off, and I painted "Mum is an old cow" on top of the box, and she saw it, and I got a whack for that one. And another time I was playing with a yo-yo, doing tricks with a yo-yo. Well, my parents were watching TV, and this yo-yo came out and cracked her on the fucking head.
Oh.
And I was like, "I'm sorry," but I think I had fingers in the fucking eyes. You know, it was. That was an accident as well. So yeah, I had a few kickings as a child. Some of them I probably deserved, if I look back, to be honest.
I'd say that was definitely deserved. Some of them.
Yo-yo sounds a bit over the top, but I guarantee I was a little shit sometimes.
I would have strangled you with the yo-yo fucking string if it was my kids. Like fucking choked the life out of you, just fucking.
But it probably was. She had probably told me to stop playing with it like 5 times.
Yeah.
Or something like that, you know, and I'm just going ha 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 ha, and then just cracked her in the head. It's probably more similar to that one.
I'll buy you, bitch. Yeah,
my brothers were terrors.
Yeah, we never really had any fucking pastings, but we had my mother was like a surgeon with the a cup or a TV remote, the whereby we would be arguing, me and my brother and my sister be bitching and bickering, and it would drive her nuts. But she would have like a cup of tea or a fucking remote control for the TV, and she'd fucking launch it, like skim our ear, like poof. It's like, whoa. It's like, she's like, next time I won't fucking miss. It's like, well, okay, bitch. Let's be quiet. She was a fucking surgeon with that shit, man. She knew what she was doing. I like to think she did anyway.
I think my dad was still throwing remote controls at my mum like 10 years ago, because in their 60s, because we went round there one day and half the buttons were broken on their remote. And I said, what happened to this? To my dad. And he just looked at me and said, I threw it at your mum. And he said, he said it missed her and hit the wall. Yeah, that's where the buttons were. Well,
there is a definite generational divide here, because remote controls didn't exist until I was in my 20s. There was no remote control. It was you were the remote control.
Did you have the dial tuner on the TV?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And basically, antennas. Well, an antenna on the roof of the house for the main TV, but then only if there were other TVs, they would have rabbit ears and stuff, or tinfoil and all that kind of stuff.
And if it goes fuzzy, because I kind of remember some of that. My brothers had black and white TV, so they would have to like move the aerial.
Right,
and that sort of stuff, and get it just right, so you wouldn't get so you could watch Channel 4, watch the Invisible Man or Batman.
Right, and sometimes if it was really bad, my father would make you stand there and hold the antenna while he watched.
Stand up, yeah. I remember the old fucking days, because I remember me and my brother were quite young, and the TV downstairs, my mother was like, "Oh, do you know, I'm gonna buy a new TV." That's fine. She had a new TV downstairs, and me and my brother had this big box fucking TV upstairs in the bedroom, and we were kings, because we was like, wow, we got a huge TV in our bedroom. But bearing in mind, it was like the back of the thing was fucking 10 feet fucking wide and all that shit. And one night we was watching I think going through the TV guide, and we was like, oh, Conan the Barbarian is on, like 11 p.m. our time. But we would be there with the aerial, just trying to fucking get a great picture for it. And but looking like, that's one of my fondest memories, is literally of just me and my brother in the bedroom with an old shit huge TV watching Conan the Barbarian, fucking playing with the aerial, and like.
That's what people don't realize, how fucking big TVs were too. They were not just, if you can get them big enough, wide enough, they were deep and big and heavy, and just like monstrous pieces of
this fucking thing. This TV was a wide TV back for what it was back in the day, but we had to it was the stand, we had it almost bowing in because it was so heavy.
Right?
Books and shit under there just to fucking keep it like going. Like, it was crazy fucking stuff.
I remember one exploded once, but we had a skip like a rubbish thing. And my dad put the TV in the skip. I don't know what you call them
Yeah.
in the States, a massive metal bin that you'd get when you move house or something. But he put a TV in the bin with the screen up, got me to duck down. He had a sledgehammer in his hand, and he said, "What's this?" And he threw it into the skip, and it went through the TV. And I just remember it exploded. And I think it was all pressurized, aren't they? And I think the stuff must have gone like 6-10 feet up in the air, and we got covered in this really thick glass. So it's a great thing to do to your child. He's like 7 years old.
Yeah, those TVs were definitely explosive. I mean, without a doubt, those tubes would shatter and blow up like that, like a big light bulb, just the way it.
Yeah,
very cool
phenomenal.
stuff.
But all that sort of stuff is great memories for me as well, including my brother worked in a butcher's when he was like 16. He would get on a bike and drive miles, but he'd wake me up at 4 a.m. to watch TV with him before he went to work. And I'd hate it at the time, like dragging me in. We'd watch Batman, shit like the Invisible Man and stuff.
Yeah,
reruns from the 60s on a shitty old TV. But looking back, I love doing that. Looking back, I really did enjoy it. Like get a cup of tea. Parents didn't know we were up, just getting up too early, and then my mum's wondering why we're so tired at school.
You're up early watching shit. They were good times though. They were good fucking times. Like
good times.
Good times. Checking the these big old TVs. Like I remember my friend of ours on the street had a pirated version of The Exorcist, and I was like fucking, I don't know, 11, 12 maybe. So is the first
The Exorcist was banned here for a long time, wasn't it?
It was banned, and a friend of mine was like, "Oh shit, I my mother got this tape. Do you want to borrow?" I was like, "Yeah, no problem." And me and my brother made a joke to my mum. My sister was way too young to watch all this shit, but we was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna watch The Exorcist," and she was like, "Yeah." She said, "No, I watched that when I was a bit younger. You can't watch that shit." Whatever, joking, haha, ta-da, mum. But yeah, me and my brother took a copyrighted VHS version of The Exorcist, okay? Took it upstairs, and she was a bit like, "Why are you going to bed so early for?" We long day down the quarry, just pissing around. We just tired. That was and we put The Exorcist on, and Jesus fuck. Me and my brother, I was like 12 at the time, so he was probably about 10, maybe 11, 9, 10, and we were both fucking shitting ourselves, just like, what the fuck is going on? Maybe man was right. We shouldn't have watched this shit. It was. I
love that movie, and I've just checked. It was banned in the UK until 1999.
Wow! Yeah, holy crap!
Wild.
Yeah.
Because I remember when it got unbanned, and I brought it on DVD. I think it was either a very early DVD or a VHS, but it was banned for like 25 years. I think it was here by the
banned in the UK.
You could get it.
Yeah.
You would get it on like pirate video and stuff. You could get anything, but you
I've watched it a few times. Like since, what a fucking film though. Like I love it. I started to watch it. Like my daughter, she's 15 now in April, and I started watching it with her back last year. Oh, you can watch this, and she got halfway through. She was like, "This is boring." I was like, "Okay, whatever." But
let Jesus fuck you.
Yeah,
it came out when I was 14, and it was rated R, and that meant you had to be 17 with an adult. But we got in. We could basically get in anywhere when I was like 12, 13, because first of all, I had the mustache at 13 anyway. But it's just odd to hear it was banned until 1999, because I went to see it at 13, 14 years old. Without a problem.
I think they might have released it at the cinema, right? And then I think they banned it after. I'll actually find out the history.
It's something
because
crazy.
I think it was probably one person on a board, one censor hungry person on the board that banned it, and it just never got dealt with.
But you wonder what they were going to accomplish with that, because what is going to make people turn Satanist? What I don't know.
It's fucking crazy.
When
I watched it last year. Go on.
No, I can't find it yet. You go ahead.
I'm just gonna say, when I fucking watched it like last year, the guy who plays Father Karras, Jason Miller, I think his name is. What a fucking performance, man! What a acting performance!
I don't remember.
He's the young priest who basically first visits Reagan, and he's like, "Oh, well, she could be schizophrenic or whatever."
I need to rewatch it, because I've seen it loads of times, but I just forget these days. But all I can find on the ban was it caused a lot of
shit. It's class.
It caused a lot of hysteria among young women watching it. So the British Board of Film Classification decided it might cause too many emotional problems in young women. It's in like 1974.
Well, I don't like causing emotional problems in young women myself, but it's part of
that's why you should be. That's why you should be banned.
I should be banned.
Yeah,
but it'll never happen.
Oh, neither did Epstein or Andrews victims, but they got 12 million out of this. So hey, it's worth it in the end, kids.
Fair play. Get on that. Yeah, like you said earlier, she should buy an island.
Yeah.
Well, did I show you the picture of me and the guys in the hot tub? Did I show you that?
Yeah, we saw that. Someone's in blackface as Cosby. I would love it, but I would have loved to go for dinner with Jeffrey Epstein. I'm serious. Just have a little chat. You'd
be a good host. He wouldn't let you pay a dime, would he?
Just get some of that food. Get some of those ribs. You go and meet Ghislaine. Hi.
Hi, Ghislaine.
Don't worry. That isn't a camera over there. Don't worry about it. We're not filming everything in this house.
Well, you know, we're in New Mexico, where our friend Craig lives. Even to this day, the age of consent is 16. And when I first got there, I had a girlfriend who, my freshman year in college, I remember this. I was 17. She was my age, and she was already divorced and had 2 kids.
Fuck. Nice. I like that.
Pretty hardcore, to be fair. Pretty hardcore. It's 16 here, by the way. That's all fine. And in the Vatican, up until a few years ago, it was 13.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how
they still ignored that.
Andrew was with us probably 15, right? So we just skated by that. If he paid 12 million pounds for 1 year, I mean, because
depends on the state. Could have been 2 years, right? Some are 17. Yeah, I don't know, but it was yeah. But I'm sure there were more. I'm sure there were more people.
He never met her. He never met her, allegedly. So why would you pay 12 million pounds to somebody you met? You'd be like, oh, fuck you. Hang on now a sec.
Well, some people do end up settling when they haven't done anything wrong. Some people do that, but in my opinion, he fucked her.
Completely.
This isn't one of those.
Listen, I'm pretty good in Photoshop. There's a lot of people who are pretty good in Photoshop. That photo would be really hard to fake and make it look that authentic. And
I was like taking the piss when I say he never met her, because obviously, he did. That fucking photo, which he keeps saying, I got no recollection of that having taken place. Is it fuck? Matt, there was BBC documentary a couple of years ago, and he was being interviewed on Panorama. Was it Panorama or no Newsnight? I think it was Emily Matlis was the interviewee, and she basically fucking had Prince Andrew in this interview about all this pedophilia shit. And he crumbled like a fucking peach. Just completely.
Yeah, it was an ill-advised interview. The palace didn't know, so he just did it off his own back, and it was the worst piece of PR.
Matt, I'll send you the link later. Okay, it was horrific. He was stumbling, mumbling.
Well, he claimed that because in her testimony she claims he was a sweaty pig, basically, and he said, "I can't sweat. Like I have a condition from the war, and it makes me not be able to sweat." So that's a huge thing that's going around.
Yeah, one of the allegations was, we was in a party together and we was dancing. He was sweating all over me, and he said, "Well, that's impossible for me to do because when I was in the Falklands War, I had such a rush of adrenaline, I could no longer sweat." Like,
here's what I would have gone with
can't
first.
Sweat. Pigs have no sweat glands.
That's true. We don't
That's true. That is true.
I would have my first defense would have been didn't rape her. Right, that would have been my first defense. Not I can't sweat. It couldn't have been me. I don't sweat.
Don't sweat at pedophiles. I'll send I'll check the link for that interview on the chat later. It's
worth watching the whole thing because there's so much like grimy little thing. Just watch his reactions. He's a little turd. But listen, that whole entire family are fucking kids, man. Every single one of those princes. Jimmy Savile was friends with them. They were friends. Right, if you're friends with the royal family in the 80s, MI5 will know what type of toothpaste you use, let alone whether or not you're raping everybody.
Fundraising pedophile is
they wouldn't know. They wouldn't.
I'm surprised that you can say that freely, and maybe I shouldn't be. Maybe I'm naive, but I
can't.
Well, yeah, because
fuck it. We can't.
I'm in a
Listen,
country that bans the playing of The Exorcist. You would think that saying shit
Yeah.
about the House of Windsor like that could.
It's,
yeah,
the
but
celestial North Korea is dead from this country now. But yeah, no,
maybe a
no
few
sense,
years ago,
baby.
but the royal family get absolutely hammered any time now. And there was
Exactly.
Prince Andrew said that it couldn't have been him because on the night in question he was at a Pizza Express, which is like a restaurant in Woking on that exact day. So someone tweeted today, like Pizza Express social media manager, like today, like they're just panicking because they get tagged in everything, like Pizza Express jokes all day. It's wild stuff. But yeah. Now there was no way he was ever going to go to prison. Let's face that. Let's face that first. They're not going to put a member of the royal family in prison. Before that happens, I said earlier, that poor young lady would have been in a car accident somewhere, just drove right into a tree, and they go, I don't know, man. Brakes, these brakes in these Teslas, they're
Yeah.
Who knows?
It's surprising that still didn't happen in today's day and age, but I don't know.
They pick and choose. They did Diana, you know.
Yeah,
Epstein got done.
If Hillary was a queen, then she would be a goner. That girl would be a goner.
It would just be Hillary would walk out, and out of her tits would just be flamethroers, and she would just
burn them down. Like 12 million to get Prince Andrew off a pedophilia charge, but yet all it cost the Queen to kill off Diana was a Rolls Royce in a Parisian tunnel. It's like,
and we're paying for it because if it's coming out the Queen's money, it's coming out the tax money, right? So I tagged HMRC, which are the people that collect the tax here on Twitter, and asked them if they've paid off the rape and can they itemize it on the next tax bill.
Right. I was thinking about that this morning when you were talking about the money. I'm just assuming that the House of Windsor has a bank account somewhere with like $10 billion in it, and they just took it out of that. You're saying that now?
Well, that comes from the tax. So we fund. The tax goes to the government, and the government pay a massive load of money into the royal. They get money in other ways too. They get, I think they're landlords and stuff as well, so they get money from all. But the taxpayer provides a lot of money to them. So some of that 12 billion came from me. Maybe I gave
a lot of that money. Yeah, like
Americans want to know why you guys support that system. Because it seems like you don't get anything for your money. It seems like you're paying them billions of dollars and they do nothing.
Yeah. Most people don't support.
Antiquated as fuck. It's like what do they say? Oh, it's an institution now. But when Queen Elizabeth does die soon, because you know she's old, rest of her soul, then fucking get done with the whole fucking system is bollocks.
Well, it is going away. It is going away. Yeah. So the next generation, they're going to reduce all the. When she dies, they're going to reduce the members of the family, basically.
Crazy,
yeah. I think within 3 generations, it will be within 3 kings, which will be about 30 years. It will pretty much be gone, and it will just be a couple of people, a ceremonial thing somewhere. It won't be what it is today. People just over the last 100 years, their power and their respect has just gone completely downhill.
Part of the world that my professional life was working in the hair and beauty industry, and those people, a lot of them are Brits. A lot of them. I mean, I worked with the Sassoon people, and I worked with the Trevor Sorbie people, and so I know a lot of British people here in America, and every one of them wets their pants when any like a royal wedding, a royal engagement, royal this, royal that.
Oh, they've got support. They have got support, but it's dwindling, I think.
They're not like you guys. They are completely. I mean, I could never.
My mother loves it. My mother loves it. She's a flag waver. She loves all the royal wedding stuff.
The oldies do, baby. The oldies do.
Yeah, my sister. There are people in some of my friends, I think one of my friends might be on the royal side. I don't know why. It's fucking insane. But not many people that I spend time with have got any time for them at all.
The people I'm talking about were all very wealthy too. I have to say that they were, for whatever reason, people in the hair elite, the elite members of the hair industry.
The hair elite.
Yeah, they are. I'm talking about the Sassoons and the Sorbies and those people.
But they probably do their hair when they're in town. Do you know what I mean? They probably go and do it's all socialite stuff. So that's what Ghislaine Maxwell was. All the socialite. You get the royal family, and then you get a satellite of people around them clinging on.
Yep.
and just go into art galleries.
But all those people love everything royal and regal and all that stuff. That's part of what being British means to them. It's like,
it's kind of fucking sad in some ways, but it's like, we need like this, because the royal family represent almost like a celestial being on earth, like the Pope in some respects. That's what they are. It's like people need that shit.
I forget.
Crazy.
So when the king or the queen takes the saber, or when you watch these ceremonies, it's so cultish. It's so weird. They take the saber thing and they're like, the power invested in me by God, like separates me just because we fucked our cousins a few hundred years ago. It's wild.
They should definitely put that in the ceremony.
Invested in me by God because we all fucked each other. That's why we've got big ears.
Again, from this side, it looks like really weird. Like I can't imagine ever living in that.
I pretty much ignore it. I mean, it's whatever. I did watch some of The Crown.
Well,
if I'm honest,
you can ignore them until one of them is like being asked by the FBI to come to the States to answer questions on fucking kids. And then you can okay, now we're.
But also. Barely anyone cares, right? Barely anyone cares.
Yeah,
most people don't give a shit. They're like, you know what? He's a Nancy Prince. They'll have a joke, but no one's going to go to the streets and protest. They should be doing, really.
Yeah.
But they won't. They'll just go.
So do you think the girl was really a victim? No, I know you think he fucked her, and I think he fucked her too. But do you think she's really a victim, or do you think she was just looking to cash in because she fucked? She willingly fucked him. I
don't know about cashing in. I think at this point probably just accepted the money, and it is a lot of money to turn down, isn't it?
Yeah.
But who knows? If that case goes on, she might have been dragged through the fucking mud. Her family could have been dragged through the mud. They'll go through her lives, her emails, her text messages. If her mum's done something dodgy, I don't know.
I just wonder what she's going to do with the money now. Is she going to use it to help other victims, or is she just going to fucking blow it on cocaine and fucking?
That's what I would do. Here's what I would do. I'd buy an island in the Pacific, right? And I'd just make it like a fun land, and I'd get politicians over.
Just fuck them and shit.
Just fuck them, yeah.
If so she's got 12 mil in the bank, okay, now. So if in 10, 15, 20 years down the line she comes out and says, if they make a Jeffrey Epstein movie or whatever the fuck they do, and she's like, 20 years down the line, I still feel like a victim. I think she's waived her right to say, I got an input in this. Do you know what I mean? Like she accepted the payoff. Like, so should she have any future involvement on anything to do with what Andrew done or fucking Epstein or whatever? She accepted the payoff.
It's a touchy subject to comment on, and these are the comments of Jamie Dykes and Matt Nappo, and I'm not getting involved. Also see the disclaimer. So I won't get involved in that, but I will say the entire royal family should be lined up against a wall, and I won't finish that sentence. Could be praised. I could have said praised.
Rotten eggs thrown at him with praise in the eggs, but he's like.
I feel like I should probably call my lawyer, Greg Delaney, and get a consultation before I say anything else.
Sure Delaney is going to be around a lot more, I think. So, all right. So we've been going a little while. Shall we talk about? What should we talk about? Oh, I know. You've got a couple of idiots. You've got a couple of idiots coming to your wonderful platform in the next few weeks.
I do.
What should we talk about that? What's going on there? Who knows?
Who do I have coming on? I don't know who I have coming on.
Greg Delaney, Frankie Millett. I know these couple of
Andrew,
fresh-blooded, conspiracy-addled weirdos from the UK. I think
crazy
might be involved, but it is so it's all. I guess it's all out. We have an official trailer. We have a fucking name. We have a logo. We have men. We are drawn by Brett Brock. But not only does Brett Brock write all our dialogue, everything, especially the stuff about the royal family. If you MI5, it's Brett Brock.
Will there be nudity involved in this?
No. There will be nothing that will damage to the minddog platform, because we're very aware that it's not our platform, and two, You've done enough damage to your own platform, so we're not going to come along and do any more. Everything's going to be thought about. We're not going to get crazy. We're not going to, we're not going to get too deep into anything that will, we're not going to talk about that fake vaccine stuff. We're going to. Hey, I was talking about the vaccine against being from Mars.
Yeah,
fake one.
Don't mention bleach.
It's so fucking bizarre about what qualifies for misinformation. I'm just thinking about
all I can think of is that the bot, because it probably was a bot, went through, because you play quite a lot of that clip, and but then his videos weren't flagged. It's a little weird.
And the appeal is supposed to not be done by a bot. It's supposed to be done by a person, and the appeal got rejected pretty quickly. Like, wait a minute. They're like, wait a minute.
I mean, if it was a person, they'd probably come in with a hangover. It's warm. Where are they? San Diego now? Have they moved to Austin? Who knows? They've come in. It's warm. They're hungover. They've had 2 months barbecue. They get this review. They've clicked on one page, and it's just what Bro Dogan said.
Yeah.
And then they've gone, that's misinformation, and they just click that. It's still a bot, and they're lying about it being a person.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
but it is wild, and that's one of the only downsides about the we're not going to mention the name, the YT platform that we're in, this little box that some people are watching us on, is stuff like copyright striking, and I get it to an extent, but if you play a couple of seconds of music or comment on someone's video,
considered the healers, so-called healers I've had on, are definitely spreading medical misinformation. If I think about it in pure medical terms,
no one the social media platforms 100%. They're only doing this is because the government is putting them under pressure to clamp down on the narrative advice, right? And no one gives a fuck about faith healers, because most people there aren't 50 million people believing the faith healers. Probably there's like 5 in each town.
Yeah.
They're not blocking off any cities.
Well, here's the thing. When I worked for the cult in like 95, 96, there was a guy who was a former cult member who came back to one of the workshops, and Barbara, the lady who was in charge of the cult, put him on a table, and he had testicular cancer, and she did over him for about an hour. And he got up and felt better, and she pronounced him cured, and he died 3 months later. So, that kind of, and I don't think he continued seeing a doctor or getting any kind of treatment. He just thought, well, I got healed. So in some respects, if they're really concerned about public health and all this stuff, I would start to look at, and I know I've done it, and I've done it for profit, because I knew in my heart when I've had people on that this stuff could be dangerous. But I always say that too. I always talk about my skepticism of it, but in the same breath I talked about my skepticism of the guy, the podcaster guy.
At the same time, you've got to take individual responsibility though. If you're going to believe that and go and or get cancer and just pray, that's kind of your fault as well.
Yeah, baby.
There was a case in Japan, and I've talked to. It might not have been Japan. It was an Asian country that a doctor convinced a patient that her vagina was haunted, right? And the only way to get it out was by his penis going into a vagina several times, in and out, maybe in several sessions. I don't know what the details were. So basically, he raped her to get the ghost out of a vagina. And that was, I don't know what happened to him, whether or not he went to prison. But unless she was dropped on her head, or she had a mental disability, the judge should have thrown that right out and just said, "Hey, stupid." I don't know, but I'm sure she must have been of a low IQ, I would think, to believe that, or spiritual. But
like Adrian,
at some point, you've got to take some individual responsibility.
Yeah, poor bitch. Yeah.
Wow.
I know, weird times. But faith healers, can they be dangerous? Probably, but I don't know how many people have fallen for it. I guess if it gets above a certain number, and it's if they're outside a cancer ward pulling out cables and stuff and going in there.
Be surprised how many people that were in the cult, because when I was in the cult, when I worked for the cult, I was not in the cult. When I worked for the cult, there were like 1,200 full-time members, and people
Yeah.
were dying all the time. Most of the people who got into it because they had some health issues to begin with. So, but yeah, a lot of them were dropping like flies. But that doesn't open people's eyes to the fact that this stuff is snake oil in a lot of cases. So.
Snake oil
Yeah,
salesman.
if you're in the system, you're in the system. I still need to watch, because the Nexium cult, I watched one documentary, and it's one of those things where I think HBO did one and Hulu did one or something like that. So I need to find the other one, because it's always good to see the two different documentaries on this stuff. But I really want to watch the second one, because it's another fascinating, fairly recent cult that intelligent people were in and just brought into it and slow. But it was all kind of layered as well, because some people didn't know about the women being branded, but when they confronted the guy, he was like, "Oh no, man, they must have done their own little mini thing inside. I don't know." But it turns out the brand, when you look at the brand,
it's his initials, or something, right?
his initials, and when you turn it the other way, it's the actress's initials. Is it Ali Mac AM? So it's KR and then AM if you rotate it.
Yeah.
And so it's the Smallville actress. She got in trouble for recruiting a lot of people, I think, because she was a popular young actress. But
she could have recruited me, in all fairness. Yeah.
To be fair, yeah. If I would have said yeah,
I would have fucking been recruited by her, no problem.
When I was in LA a few years ago, down Hollywood Boulevard, they had a Scientology center, and I was drunk out of my fucking mind, and they were out there with the e-meter, the hand to measure your ketons. And I swear to God, the guy, he came out to me with this questionnaire, and I think I did tell him to fuck off, but I almost just said, yeah, I'll come and do this. But I had a little part of my brain thought I could wake up tomorrow in that. They've got another place that's like a blue castle near Hollywood.
Yeah.
I could wake up in there tomorrow in a robe with a hangover.
And be a slave. And then you're a prisoner and a slave, yeah.
I'm just in
Pray
now.
for your thetans to go away. Pray to Thanos.
You didn't tell me there was going to be singing on this show. I don't like singing at all.
Pray to Thanos and the thetans.
Okay.
No singing.
The good stuff. The good stuff, baby. Hey, Tom Cruise is in Scientology. How bad can it be?
John
Travolta fucking is in Scientology. How bad can it be?
Him and Travolta are allowed to murder people, I think, inside the organization, we believe, due to our investigations.
Scientology.
I think the wine has hit him now.
Yeah. Pretty soon he'll be sleeping and snoring and pulling his nipples out, pulling the shirt over his head.
You ready?
I won't say a word about minddogtv, Mr. Brock.
Who was that?
Say a word about that, Mr. Brock. We'll tell Mr. Nappo.
Yeah.
I'm sure that'll have to be some sort of character. Well, what we could do, because we're thinking of getting Brock on a few times, and one of them we're going to do something about art. We're going to do a movie watch. But another thing we could do with Brock is like we all dress as Brock and do his accent as well for the whole hour, 2 hours.
Yeah.
Can you do his accent? Let me hear.
We can do. I think we can do it a little bit, but not under pressure on air. I don't know, but we do it to each other over voicemail quite a lot.
Oh. Carl, do you
cheers?
No shit.
Yeah. Well, shit.
Down here, Nashville, you guys don't know shit.
I drink in my drawer in Nashville, Tennessee. That's right. That's right.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Jamie's gonna pull out his nipples. Watch out. He's gonna pull out his nipples.
Sorry, Brad Brock. It's nothing to do with me, motherfucker.
I'm sorry. I don't mean it. I really didn't.
Actually,
you can do Brooklyn anytime you want.
We'll try and work on it. On that news, Brock should be drawing tonight. He normally draws in about 30 minutes, I think. I'm sure he would have tweeted, but not Monday, Wednesday, Friday, about 9 UK time.
Yeah, Monday,
Wednesday,
Friday.
Check him out on
He's
Twitch.
only a Twitch guy. He's not on YouTube though, right?
Just straight up to Twitch at the moment. Yeah, but he's enjoying it. I love it. I love the fact that he just picks random things from his own mind. He doesn't take suggestions. It's just whatever he wants to do. And he's doing a lot of good stuff, and he's just doing it to use up his art supplies at the moment. He's just going, right, I've got these wax boards, I've got this. He'll just think of something and then do Clint Eastwood or something from Star Wars. It's all phenomenal stuff.
Incredible.
Yeah. Husky
Good for
Husky Boyo everywhere. We should probably wrap up this show soon because we're not going to keep the dog forever, and also this isn't going to be a long one tonight. So if anyone's expecting
already
8
been a long
hours,
one. It's already been 90 minutes. That's more than most people will listen to.
No, you kidding me? This is fine. They love it. They love these long ones over here.
Yeah,
but actually, on Rumble, I split the video in half. So I hacked you because I was doing something else. So it's in two little sections of 3 hours and 48 minutes. But yeah, there will be many more shorter episodes on this channel. I'm gonna be saying that those really, really, really long ones will be rare, but they will be good. They will be good.
Oh.
And when we're in person,
hey, what's up, man?
Oh, you guys hear that? Do you hear that?
What?
I'm on the air right now on Carl's show, and
hey, Carl.
Yeah, see, you were calling.
I'm home with the Rona.
You're home with what? Rona? You got Rona
again? Yeah, again. Could you imagine? Boosted and everything.
Oh, fake. So you're no gig this weekend then, right? Or
I might be up. I should be cleared by Friday.
All right. Well, I'm on
5
the show.
days. I
I'm
should be
live
cleared.
on the air, man. Call me later.
Well,
I'm all
right.
on the air on Carl's show.
Hey, Carl. Hopefully everything's good.
All
right. All right.
Yeah,
enjoy the show. How can I tune in?
Don't die. We're on YouTube. Last Rites Pod. I don't know.
We'll be finishing.
We'll Facebook page. I shared it there.
We'll be finishing soon, but go and subscribe.
You got it. Do it. Bye.
Who's that? Joe Exotic.
That's Mike. He's got the Rona again. Mikey got the Rona again. We put that out there for broadcast. Mikey got the Rona again.
Mikey's got the Rona again.
Oh, Mikey, you're singer, Mikey.
Yeah, so today's Wednesday. We got a gig Saturday night. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't have put that on the air. Just say I don't have. Did he say I don't have the Rona again?
Yeah.
See you Saturday.
Yeah, nobody who's going to that gig is watching. but no, I was thinking I'd substitute for him and get Kiara, the girl singer from the band, but he's you heard him. Oh, I should be good to go Friday. That's 2 days. I don't know. I don't think I think it lasts longer than 2 days.
So Craig's back in the sub. Carl and Jamie don't get rolling until 4 hours in. Yeah,
they don't get naked until 4 hours in. They're rolling way before that.
Naked and rolling, baby. Naked and rolling, baby.
That's no shit.
My nipples.
It is wild what we can do in terms of time, but we will do some wacky shit on here. But there's going to be a lot more shorter episodes in this 1 hour, 2 hours, that kind of stuff, and then there'll be a random one next Friday on the 25th. We're together for the first time in a while. First time on the podcast, anyway.
Live in my house, baby.
And we will be doing that in two sections. So we're going to have one episode. I've gone blurry as hell. You're not drunk. It's fine. There we go. Come back. There we go. We'll be doing a show. I do need to focus. A lot of people tell me this stuff. We'll be doing one show for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Then we're going to go and eat, have a couple of drinks. And then we're going to come back with another live stream the same night. And we'll probably only go a couple of hours that night as well. But you know how things get. We might just be live streaming us in each other's arms, asleep and snoring.
Sleeping for 24 hours or whatever.
It might break some kind of record. Maybe we'll get 20 hours and 1 second.
Right. Yeah. And on April 1st, we are going to be having a marathon, a 24-hour marathon. Midnight Eastern time on April 1st.
24 hours on April 1st.
Louis C.K., Joe Rogan, David Spade.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Seth Rogen.
Are we doing the are we going to do the seance at midnight as well? We're going to do like an Ouija board and shit.
Why not? Why not?
Well, that's how we're getting Joan Rivers and Bob Saget on.
Yeah. Get them on. That's right. Yeah, that's right. It's going to be good.
Doing Norm Macdonald is in that hour.
Yeah.
So yeah, why not? That April 1st. Check everything out. This podcast will be back. There's a load of live streams upcoming on the channel, so go and check out what's coming up. We've got a lot up there, and that's it. I'll just stop sucking my teeth.
Are you streaming to Rumble or are you not? Because I didn't sign up for the streaming thing yet, or with them.
Not. I couldn't work out if we could or not, so I've just been uploading.
You can. It's a paid thing. You have to. It's like $10 a month to stream there, which I don't mind paying, but I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, I haven't looked into it. I just uploaded a few. I haven't done all the back episodes of everything that was on this channel because those older ones are a bit too. It's too much, and there's not a lot going on. They're less interesting, I think. So I've done them since the rebrand, and go check us out on Rumble. We are now there to balance things, and the good thing about Rumble is they'll fucking monetize you straight away, by the way, instead of having any, working your ass off. And I think that they pay a bit better. I guess they just haven't got the total viewers there yet. So it's a platform that's been going a good few years, I think, but they seem to have branded it. Well, in the last 2 years, they seem to have developed a lot in the back end. It seems to be, it's very different to YouTube. Don't expect it to be YouTube, guys, but it seems pretty good. The videos going up there pretty quickly. It seemed good quality. I don't know. It's something to try out anyway.
Brian got his podcast.
It takes a little while to when I put stuff up there. It took a little while to render out. That was a little slow, but other than that, I have no complaints so far.
Yeah, exactly the same. And the thing about these alternative, because there does need to be alternatives to the monoliths, right? There does have to be.
Yes.
To YouTube, to Vimeo had a go, but it doesn't quite get there. I think it's not really a good platform, interactive platform like this. It's all right for storing videos and stuff, but there do need to be alternatives. And of course, when you get an alternative, you're going to get a load of people who always get banned from the other ones going straight there. So that is going to make it more weird stuff going on over there. But I don't know. There's also a lot of fairly normal shit on that platform as well. So I think it's just a case. A lot of things get branded right wing too early. I think it's just a right wing platform. No, there's just a lot of people that, probably a lot, but just go over there anyway. And if you put relatively normal content on there, then there's more on that on there, and it'll get balanced.
Relatively normal content. I'm not sure what.
This
we
is
know anybody
relatively...
No, none.
Zero. Yeah, I'm lying, guys. We're fascist dark angels, and we are on Rumble now. So go support us over there. Get an account and follow us at Last Rites and minddogtv.
minddogtv.
We're both up there. So yeah, 3rd of March of Dykes and Mann. We will be working our brains to figure out exactly what we're going to be doing, but it'll be interesting. Short show again. We will have guests, and we will have
clips,
lots of weird nonsense going on there. Yeah, so I
weird
don't know.
Stuff.
We'll more or less could leave it there then. If we want to have a chat after this, we can, Mr. Dog. But we're going to get the Nappo back on a regular basis, and what I want to do, we can do it a bit like today, and we can go into a bit more detail about some of those areas of his life. Of course, he's going to skirt around all the real crime. That's fine.
Areas.
And then we'll just talk about other shit, because that's what we do as well.
I might have to have my lawyer with me if we do this again.
I think you might need to have your lawyer with you. But yeah, we'll be on the minddog platform and on the Last Rites in future. So keep liking, keep sharing and subscribing, all that good stuff. And we appreciate all of your support. Yeah, that's it. Sorry for not reading out all these comments here. We appreciate them all, and we're gonna go and be gay together backstage for a while. All right, so we'll see you.
Also, I just want to remind.
Here's where you've gone wrong, because to get stage time, all you've got to do is suck a dick.
That's all I just want to say.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes.
Suck it. See you later.